It's showtime. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday night special showtime. I'm here with a wonderful group of friends from TarotTube. And tonight we are doing a VR to Mandy and company at Artistry and Tarot, who did a wonderful Mindset 2021 panel last Sunday. And so I was so inspired by their conversations, inspired by the questions, that I really wanted to do a VR and gather a few other amazing tarot tubers to get together and discuss these questions. And Mandy, I have taken the liberty of switching a few of them up. So I hope you enjoy these. And I want to welcome everybody who's in the chat, everybody who's in the background, and I'll do my best to keep an eye on what's going on. And I want to invite all of you to participate tonight. So we'll go back and forth between the panel as well as all of you in the chat. So welcome, Ishi. Hello. Oh, and there's Nancy Rose. Okay. I see you in two places. Kyle Liz, hello. Julianne Victoria and Neem, welcome. And there's Mandy. So I hope it's okay, Mandy, that we switched up some of your questions. And Jen is going to start with another one as well, too. Wandering Wild Woman, hello. Hello, hello. And welcome to Gerald. So Gerald is Knitting Brow. And I'll do my best to greet others as they come in. So yeah, so thanks. So 2021 just around the corner, and we have a new one more lunar cycle to go through or partially go through in 2020, and then that's it. So I'm going to hand this over to Jen, who's going to start with the first question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Mandy, I wanted to add a question because this year has been a year, and I was wondering from the panel and anyone in chat, how, if at all, has your divination practice changed this year in 2020 by comparison to last year in 2019, where life was a little more normal? So who would like to go first? Don't all jump at once.
I can go. I'll go. I think that for me, my divination practice has got, this is going to be a big part of this whole night. So I took a break. I really felt pulled by, I think, the perfectionism of doing it every day, and really, I don't know whether I felt overwhelmed. Anyway, in the summertime, I took a break. I took a break from YouTube. I took a break from daily readings until maybe I took a good 3-month break from daily readings. And when I came back to it, I decided that I was going to not worry so much about beating myself up for not being so consistent. You know, I want to be consistent. You know, I do Wednesday Tarot Wisdom, except some Wednesdays I don't because stuff happens. And I do tend to now pull a card every day. And that's only because starting in, I want to say July, I started to bullet journal. And so I have a page in my bullet journal that has my card of the day, a memory from the day, and then my practice, my Zen practice journal. So as I go through in the morning, I wake up and I kind of have this routine that I do. Now, that said, I haven't done it. As most of you in this space know, my daughter came home and surprised me for my birthday, which was Monday. And so I didn't journal Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. So I'm just getting back started to it. But instead of trying to like go back and fill in those gaps, I just started with Thursday and moving on. So trying to get over the perfectionism, I think, is what's changed for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Does anyone else want to go next, or do you want me to go next while you all think about the question?
I'll go.
I'll go. Oh, you go ahead, Jonathan.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, God, a year ago, I think, is when I was teaching my beginning tarot class, where I really got to know Betsy really well. And I was so focused on the tarot side of things, I think, like really focused on the tarot side of things. And in the last year, I've kind of opened up more into not just tarot, but oracles and rune systems. So I think for me, the deepening came into opening what I allowed in. So instead of just doing tarot readings, I do a tarot reading and then throw in an oracle card just to like as a final message kind of thing. And as far as myself, actually, I had fallen out of the practice of pulling cards for myself for quite a while. And then recently, well, I guess about a year ago is when I started doing the final, in the evening, I'd pull 3 cards. So, and so instead of doing morning pulls, I started doing evening pulls, which really changed the dynamic I'd get from the cards, because instead of it being like a prompt for what was coming, it'd be more of a reflection of what had happened. And I feel like I could go a little deeper that way instead of just like, okay, I got to look out for these things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that, I think that's where the shift happened for me from 2019 to 2020.
Yeah. And Nancy?
Sorry for the noise.
Well, mine kind of ties in to something we're going to discuss later. But for me, actually, this year, I went through this whole thing with collecting decks, and the focus actually went off of divination and more onto the collecting of decks. And when that reality hit me, that was also part of the whole process I've been through this year of going through my decks and really just weeding out things, because I'm not a collector, and going back and actually back to basics. So it was this whole process this year for me from last year, because the focus had gotten off of divination and more about the toys. And so now it's hopefully going to go back into actual divination itself.
I think for me, the big shift was in the connection in every way. So just from the actual cards, the cards became, or the divination practices, the spiritual practices connected me to so many other parts of my life. So it wasn't just with readings with clients, but the spirituality deepened in everything, from the walks with my dogs to having the confidence to talk about it more in yoga classes, to opening up with people that I wouldn't necessarily talk to about, that I could tell were in my energy field because they needed to be in my energy field. And so really embracing what exactly my role is in the community, in my life, in my path. And I really feel like 2020, I took a huge step forward in truly stepping into that.
Yeah.
I can just say too, Sedona, I can really relate to that from 2019 to 2020, because 2019 was my ordination year. So yeah, stepping into a different role, sure.
All right. Betsy or Amber?
I'll go. It's been interesting. There's been peaks and valleys for me with divination, because I came into the year doing only the psychic medium side of it, and was working on developing more to do with that. And then started spending time with Jonathan. I started going back into looking into tarot and oracle more, and I started to really kind of get interested in it in spring. And then over summer, my guides told me to put everything away, and they made me put all of my decks in a drawer and leave it. And they've just recently let me bring them back out. And now I'm finding that, and partially because I'm spending so much time with all you guys on TarotTube, thank you so much for being such great teachers. I'm actually understanding things now. And so I'm able to incorporate using tarot more into part of my everyday practice. And it's been really cool and enriching.
And to have met you this year, Betsy. I know I'd not heard of you last year, and now you're here.
Yeah. And I know.
Here, Betsy. And
I'm
Jonathan.
sorry.
Like Betsy and Jonathan especially. I think they're the people that, for me, are the newest to TarotTube. And it seems like you've always been here.
Yeah.
It's an amazing community. I'm so appreciative.
Amber, how about you? How's yours changed from 2019 to this very interesting year we've all had?
Well, I had some huge changes. I could identify with a few of what you were saying. Sadhana, you talked about a change of a role, and what is your role? And I think that's my current kind of, I don't want to say crisis, but divination crisis, like a midlife crisis, divination crisis. In my tarot readings, with tarot, I've found that I've become more simplistic in my readings. Whereas before I was going like really deep and trying to find this and that and this symbol and that symbol and relate it to this. And I just kind of stepped back from that, and I just began looking very simply, just what is the storyline that the cards are telling me. But then, as some of you might know, I began to, hi, my voice tarot again. I began to realize that I could channel. And as you know, I wrote my book, which is a channeled book. So I'm sitting with myself and I'm like, where do I go now? Like, what is my role? It's very noisy here today. Eating the couch. Oh my goodness. She's not eating the couch. Don't eat in. And oh, tell her not to. So anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, so it's kind of my role. Where am I going with this? Like, how do I blend the two? Or do I blend the two? Or do I not blend the two? So in 2020, it's been kind of a discovery of myself. And I think like an opening within myself and trying to now understand, where do I go from here? That's going to be 2021. Trying to integrate all of that.
So for me, I guess 2019, because both years have been very stressful, but in different ways. I was in that phase of buy. It was decks every week, and really, like, a part of it, yes, was the love of it, and having found it not that long prior to 2019, but really having found YouTube in 2019. So it was that buy all the time. But I can definitely say part of it, aside from the love of it, was an escape from what was going on. And I'll kind of talk about that again when we get to the next questions, but in a very different light. So I think that's been the biggest change for me this year, is that I didn't make plans to not buy decks at the beginning. I did a few big purchases, like of like out of print decks and things like that, but I haven't had that same desire this year to purchase decks. That just kind of happened naturally. But yeah, I think that has been my biggest change from 2019 to now, which is odd, given you'd think in the crisis and the downtime and all of that that's gone on with COVID, I'd be wanting to kind of purchase more. And that's sort of my personality type. But yeah, so that was interesting to me. That, yeah, that's probably been my biggest change.
Okay, thanks, Jen. And yeah, it's really nice to see your responses as well too in the chat. So please let us know what your answers are to some of these thoughts. So Amber's going to take it away with the next question, which is really kind of interesting and think beyond just the tarot, because I think this question has a lot of implications into, you know, our whole life and how we navigate our spirituality beyond daily readings and so forth. So maybe I'll read the question and that'll prompt Amber. So the question is, describe a light and dark aspect of your divination journey in 2020.
You're right, that was supposed to be my question. So yeah, so I guess should I go first then, since I missed that one? A light and dark aspect. I would say, I think it had a lot to do with channeling. I really kind of went straight into channeling this year and less deep into tarot. And I did have like a mini dark night of the soul when I went into that, because I kind of felt like my whole, I guess, belief system, my previous belief system kind of fell away. And I was trying to rediscover, what did I actually believe in? Like, what is my mental construct of the world around me and the spiritual world around me? And what is my place? And it kind of fell away. And in that, I felt a little lost. You know, I know that many of us during our spiritual journey at one time or another, we're going to feel lost for a little while. And I definitely felt lost. And then it kind of hit me. Hi, Jamie. And I kind of found myself again, like, what is my purpose? And I was able to complete the book. And now I'm kind of in that state of, I like to think of the Hanged Man. So it was like light, continually like light and dark, light and dark. So I'll go into like a darker period where I'm kind of confused, and then a light period where suddenly,
Sorry, can I just ask you, with relation to that, was it that you went into the dark period and then the channeling came, or it was because of the channeling that you went into that dark night of the soul?
It was because of the channeling. It was because of the channeling. We're having a difficult time today. Here you go. Sorry about that. Let me just give him, here, take this. Okay, I lost my phone, so I can't see the chat, but go over there with it. So it was because of the channeling, the information that I started to get. I went through periods of, am I crazy? You know, what is this? How do I know that I'm actually channeling? You know, and then I take a picture, see a video of the orb, and then I say, okay, well, I see you there. I've got proof you're there, so I'm not crazy. Well, what am I supposed to be doing with this, you know? And so it was like back and forth like that.
Okay, so who's next? Who wants to share about their dark and light side of 2020?
I'll go.
Go, Nancy.
Mine are two sides of the same coin. This year going really deep into divination and looking at why I had acquired so many decks at the end of last year and the first part of this year, and looking at those reasons and searching in the cards themselves, but also the cards as a whole, why that was. And it brought to mind a lot of old grief that had been buried within me, related to my brother's suicide 10 years ago. And why this was so powerful is this is something that I thought had, for the most part, had been addressed in so many aspects over the years. You have the would have, could have, should have, the grief, the guilt, all of these things that I thought I had really dealt with. And so this year, working with the cards, because my brother gave me the first set that I really got to keep and work with, really brought up a lot of that. And going deep in that grief and dealing with some residual grief. And I didn't realize how much grief still I was holding on to, not just with him, but other family members, because they've all passed away at Christmas time over a series of years. I mean, I have my son and my husband left, and this is it in my family. So, but that was the beauty, because of getting on the other side of that grief and shining that light on it has opened up a whole new thing for me. And actually has me now, I've made the decision to actually become a death doula. But I couldn't have done that without having worked through all the grief first. And it was directly tied to not only the cards themselves and the collecting of the decks and the culling of the decks, but actually really working with them. And this year I didn't read for as many people, other people, as I used to. This year the focus was more on inward and my journey with the cards. And so that's what I would say it was for me.
So for me, this past year, it was a temperance year for me. So it was kind of this balance, and honestly, like the water element of that, the balance of emotions. And I kind of I'm starting to have this epiphany as we're talking, that a lot went on in 2019, especially toward the end of the year with my ordination and getting ready for that. So there was a lot of just, study and emotional stuff, and a lot of spiritual stuff. And somewhere around March or April, I kind of realized that I was going to go through this sort of lost year again, a year of loss, because my daughter, my two youngest live nearby. They're at university, but they live nearby. My daughter in 2019 got married, and then they moved. They're 10 miles away from me, both of them. But I realized that 2020 was going to be a year where they both leave the area, and that was kind of I don't know. I want them to go. They need to go. They need to, move on and get on with their lives. And I'm really proud of them for what they're doing. But geez, everything's going to change again. And, then there was just kind of the burnout with being on YouTube. I tend to take breaks from YouTube every now and again. And so I really felt like I needed to do that this summer, which then that turned into my light, because I was really able to come back to basics, not only with my divination practice, but with my spiritual practice too. And that had a lot to do with the whole COVID thing, because we were, we're kind of, especially here in rural Pennsylvania where I am, we are pretty confined. So we weren't going out and about and doing the normal things, which really forced me to practice mindfulness in a lot of ways. I would sit outside and knit. I would I don't have the TV on during the day. I even shuffling cards kind of became a mindful thing where I was really aware of the feel of the deck and the smell of the deck. And so, yeah, I really feel like I became grateful for time spent with family and time spent outside. And then just the, like, the word that comes to mind is luscious, the lusciousness of the cards. For me, it's cards. So the lusciousness of the cards.
I think for me, I'll start with the dark side because it sort of follows on. We're definitely at the beginning of 2020. My tarot cards I very much used as an escape. I don't want to deal with what's going on. I don't want to see what's going on around me. I don't want to think about it. So I'll just go and play with my cards. So it was and I talked about, the purchasing of them was sort of a bit of an escape from reality in 2019, but this was very different. It was, I don't want to acknowledge anything around me. So that was probably the dark side to my divination at the beginning of the year. And then the light side would definitely be that throughout this year, I have gained just so many more tools. Just like, yes, I guess my confidence with the tarot has grown. The way I look at it, the way I do readings has changed to a point. But lots and lots of different tools that help with, divinatory type stuff, connecting into spirit, for physical and emotional well-being. And that has probably been the best part of 2019 for me. Like, despite that all that started from a really horrid beginning, it was, finding Sedana and working with her in multiple different ways. It was finding Jillie and her now being my Buddhist teacher. So I've definitely added a lot of life tools in general that not only, they all help with the divination, but they have also made an incredible difference just to every part of my well-being. So that's, definitely the light of 2019 for me.
I'll go next. So at the end of 2019, I was working at a spa that Betsy knows because we worked there together. And I was struggling I'm an acupuncturist, and I was struggling to express the spiritual side of things instead of just, have nonstop acupuncture facials going on. And one of the things that I started doing was for the spa, I started teaching classes. So I did past life regression, and then I did a beginning tarot class, and then 2020 happened, and that whole thing I had been building up just collapsed out from under me. So that was pretty much the darkest part for me, was suddenly realizing that everything I had set up was gone, and I didn't even know where to turn. And so I turned to my cards, and I started really diving into different tarot. In 2020, it's been kind of crazy for me as far as buying cards. I went way overboard in 2020. But 2020 also brought me YouTube, and not just finding all of your guys' channels, but starting my own and just really connecting with a group of people that I'm like, oh my God, I can be myself. I don't have to put on a mask. I'm just me, and we can talk about the same things, and we all know what we're talking about. And wow. So, and it really, like, when I started with my channel, like, I think the first 25 videos, you just see my hands as I'm unboxing decks, and now it's like every Tuesday, here I am live giving readings, and it's like,
Too.
it's definitely, I've blossomed. Thank you. So for me, it's like, yeah, I went through a darkness, but going through the dark, I found my light. So I think I appreciate the darkness all the more
I
because
think
of
that's
that.
also the beautiful thing about it, like, because when you're meeting everyone through YouTube and you do make the connections with them, but you see the growth and change. Like, I remember when you started out, Jonathan, and then there was talk of branching out, and then there was getting more confident in that. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Definitely. And you
I
helped,
think too,
Jen, for sure.
the connections that we've made here. I know that my community circle has really grown over the past year, and since I've come back from my hiatus for the summer, my circle has just broadened and grown, and I'm so grateful for that. And the connections I've made, like I'm looking at you guys, and the connections I've made with you, like they're real, and I think lasting, and that is a light part of my year as well. I'm really grateful for that.
Definitely. And yes, Jada, acupuncture facials do work. I mean, you have to have a series, but I've seen some pretty amazing differences for people's faces. So. But, I've also had those people. I had like this one woman who was, how old was she? I think like 72 or something, and like came in for a facial and apparently had since the 70s never touched a drop of water because she went to some workshop where the people were talking about how evil water was and it depleted your flora and fauna of your gut, so you should never drink any water ever. So she hadn't drinking any water for like the last 30 years, and I'm just like, I can't help you. Your skin is leather now. So, right? I was just like, I want to help you, but you got to drink water. Oh, I won't drink water. No, I refuse. I'm like, well, then I can't help you. I'm sorry, because your body needs water. Yeah, that was horrible. But usually it's pretty good. I mean, I drink probably like 2 or 3 of these a day. So
yeah,
right.
I don't.
Oh, God.
Like this goes with me or something.
This is always in my hand.
Yeah, it goes with me everywhere.
Water is the most important
I'm
thing
too
to life.
distant.
So I don't even understand how she was still alive. But
I was like, how is she still alive?
All right, I'll go. I may be last. My light and dark actually are kind of the same thing. I heard somebody else say that. And I'll start with the light side because in 2020, I definitely completely embraced the spiritual growth in my life, especially with Hawaii being shut down for so long. There really wasn't a whole lot to do. And so I started really walking my talk and started being more authentic, speaking my truth in public more often, not being afraid to give people my business card that has Betsy Palmer Medium on it, and to growing that business more, which I had started to do that in 2019, but I really went whole hog, and a lot of it is thanks to you guys. I would never have imagined I would have had a YouTube channel, never in a million years. And so the shadow work on it was also in our isolation, choosing to walk away from the friendships, some of my longer standing friendships with people that don't share my spiritual beliefs, and actually choosing to not be near them and not be around them, that I was feeling that that wasn't serving me anymore, that it wasn't helping me rise to where I wanted to go, and to instead spend my time in introspection, really going deep into why did I feel connected to people that didn't share my beliefs and judged me for it. Why was I keeping connection with those people, and what did that mean for me to choose to walk away from it? So see if there's anything else. No, I spent a lot of time alone this year, but I also started doubled my ocean water swimming. I quit doing cocktails of any kind. I tried to go veg and caffeine free, and that didn't work out. But there's been so much growth in this year for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that covers it. I think that's enough.
Has everybody shared their dark and light except for me? Okay, so I want to talk about doing live readings on YouTube, because I really feel that has been a huge dark and a lot of light as well too. And I have done like psychic fairs. I read for all kinds of people all over the place, but this was the first time that I have been under the gun like that doing live readings, and I had no idea how it was going to go. And so I really was kind of nervous about it. And it's really changed now to what it was at the beginning. And what I find is that and when I'm talking about the dark, I don't know what it is, like the kind of people that I want to work with are now the kind of people that show up. So the clientele, if you will, has really shifted over this year. So at first, the readings, I don't want to say they were mundane or trite, but I didn't feel a deep connection with the people. And so now I feel like I'm getting a lot more life path questions and spirit questions, and people that want to heal and work through things, which is what I want to do. And so by me putting myself out there and having the courage to say what I see and to say what I feel, the confidence, because if I'm editing what I'm channeling, I'm not standing in my truth. And of course, what's coming out of my mouth is partially coming through a filter of ahimsa, do no harm, speak truth, but do no harm, right? It's always a challenge. So I think my dark and my light has really shone through in the live readings. So, and I know some of you have taken that on and do that as well too. So I don't know how that live reading experience has been for you this year, or if you've kind of been through that dark and light process in that, because it's an interesting thing to put yourself out there and do that.
Yeah, it is. I think I haven't done that many. You were probably the inspiration that gave me the courage to step out there and do it. But yeah, you're right. When you're reading for those love questions that people are asking the same all the time over and over, and like my sister's always been the same with me, you'll do the reading, but it's like you walk away feeling I haven't given myself, I haven't given all I could give. I mean, you couldn't give any more based on the reading, but when you have those deeper questions, yeah, you have that much stronger connection, and you can walk away from them going, yeah, I gave my all to that one, as much as you can in a quick YouTube live reading sort of a thing compared to in person. But yeah, I definitely get that.
I think all of us, most of us here anyway, that I'm looking at, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but as I'm looking at us, I think that we would all identify as healers of sort. And so when you do get that question, that the more mundane question, is my relationship going to work out? Those questions, and it's not that we don't want to read those questions, but I feel like I leave a lot still on the table. There's not as much to, I don't know, there's not as much to dig into, like you said, Jen, when the deeper questions come, there just seems to be more that you can, more facets. It's a more faceted reading. And
I can't help it. The psychologist in me, if it was a one-on-one reading, has to turn that around. I have to ask more questions. And Sedona, is something that you actually do quite beautifully by the way you reflect it back to people now. And but I know when it's live and they're faster readings and you're just doing like a one question, quicker kind of reading, that people aren't there for my psychologist side. But it kind of, it's like I can give more, but yeah.
Can I ask how you got
I
the
get a little
courage?
frustrated with the live fast readings because I have to read so quickly, and I've always done one-on-ones, like you, and my whole tarot career, I always did one-on-ones, and I could sit with the person for like an hour and go into it, and I felt like I could give them some shift in perspective, but in those in that 1 minute, I feel like I can't. I can read it, but are you going to get anything out of it? And then I get frustrated if you're not.
See, I think the YouTube readings are just a blast. It's especially with the chat. It removes the visual layer of perception. And it goes so quick. The guides know they got to get it in fast, and so it just, to me, is so lighthearted and fun. And yeah, I love my one-on-ones too, where you're really going deep, working on soul intention, soul purpose in a particular lifetime, or really, really deep inner work. I love doing that stuff too. But for me, the YouTube stuff is just all 100% fun.
Yeah. So I've been kind of full circle in and out with that, and now I'm very rarely will I not turn a question around because I really want to go there. So I am a little bit mindful of our time, and I'm going to go on to the next question. And some of these questions are quite interrelated, but question number 2 is, how would you like to shift your divination journey in 2021? And so the general focus of it, is there any, I'm going to pass this off to somebody while I calm my Amber down here behind me. So somebody go ahead.
I'll jump on.
I'll do it.
So I would
like.
So I think for me, 2021 kind of needs to be a depth year, just because 2020 was just such a buy as many decks as possible. And I have some decks that I just I need to dive deeper into, and even though I feel like I've gotten to play with most of the decks I got this year, there's still a few that I only kind of scratch the surface on, and I really want to go deeper, like the Tarot of Light and Shadow. It's I've played with it with the 2 decks separate, but I'd love to shuffle them together and try it that way, but that's so much more time consuming. So I think for me, the shift would be more towards a depth year, is what I would call it. And also maybe thinking about how to add that as an aspect of my channel as well.
Okay, I can go next because it's really one word. It's more. I just want to do more. So if there were 2 things that I had to pick, I would want to do, I just looked at Amber. So now there's 3. Amber's eyes shining over there. I want to learn to read more. I want to learn more about Marseille, and specifically the history of the decks that I have, but also how to read with Marseille, because I know it's a little bit different. I have a set of runes that Mr. Honey gave me for Christmas last year that I have not even touched. I'd like to really touch them this year. And I think, you know, I may take a little step into the trying to figure out this whole mediumship thing with me. I've been kind of afraid of that. I've been apprehensive with it, but between Amber and Betsy, I'm at least just to answer the questions in my own head about what's going on, and, you know, kind of, yeah, that. So I think those are the three things, the three areas that I want to delve deeper into.
I'm excited to hear about that too. Throughout the year to come.
We'll talk.
For me, I guess I'll go next. You're right. Yes, I definitely want to. Since everything's calm here now, I'll talk while I have the chance. I feel like this year, I feel like in 2020, I got shaken up a bit. Like I kind of, like I said, I kind of lost my footing. Like, what is my channel? What am I now? Like, what do I do now in my divination practice? Like, how do my cards fit in that I love? You know, where do they fit in? So I feel like moving into 2020, it's going to be about kind of bringing things together and combining things together in ways that represent my authentic self. And yeah, that's all I want to say about it. It's a year of understanding myself a little better and everything, all of the tools that I have.
I totally understand that. That's exactly my experience. And I think that's why I'm starting a Facebook group. And that's why I want to really share all of the tools that I have. And because they're all connected. It's like, even though maybe the threads of our spiritualities are a little bit different, but they all come to the same point. And so, yeah, like Jillie said, more and everything, and the connections between everything. That's what 2021 is for me.
More and deeper, you know, more and even delving deeper into what is already there.
Yeah.
You know, I like deep dives.
Yes, I do.
I'll go. I am definitely looking forward to continuing to learn more about tarot. I feel like I'm just starting to really understand enough to be able to incorporate cards confidently in session work with people. But I also want to branch out into new locations, whether it's in a geographical location or if it's within the online community. That's definitely the two directions I want to go in this year coming up. And can we just pick a day and time to do our mediumship group on YouTube already? We've all been talking about it for so long. Can we just pick it already? I can't wait. I'm just so excited.
Are you running it, Betsy?
I'll run it.
You're gonna facilitate?
I mean,
I'll be there.
I have my class.
Oh yeah, I want to try too.
Yeah, I already have the class developed, and you guys are all kind of light years ahead of most people where they start. But I totally want to do that. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yes.
You know I'm there.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm excited.
That's awesome. Okay. Jonathan, do you want to jump into number 3?
Sure.
I haven't done mine yet.
Go,
right.
Jen.
I haven't done mine either.
Jen and Nancy still need to do 2. Yeah.
So I could combine my 2 and 3 sort of together. So I'll just say for the how I'd like to shift my divination journey, and kind of keep that down to more, yes, like the tarot, that sort of aspect. Mine would be to say more as well, but more in the sense of doing more readings, doing more online readings, doing more one-on-one client readings online, like all mine I do on Zoom. Doing more content about divination and tarot more consistently, because that energizes me. That like lifts me up and it energizes me. So yeah, that would be, it'll play into my next question as well, but I'll leave it at that for that one.
Hen, you and I can be accountability buddies for consistency.
Poor you, Jillie. Good luck to me.
Well, how I would like to do my journey next year is I've been reading tarot for 40 years and runes for about 20.
Wow.
And over the last few years, I've been throwing all of this other stuff on top of it, esoteric study wise. So for me, this year is, I want to look at it with the beauty of the beginner's mind and throw away all that stuff and go back and remember, this is why I fell in love with this, actual form of divination, whether it be the tarot or whether it be runes. And so that's it for me. I just want to look at it with the eyes that I had when I first started and remember the magic that was there.
Oh, that's
Oh,
beautiful.
that's beautiful.
Wow.
I love that.
Really beautiful, Nancy.
You are amazing, Nancy. So our question number 3, what did you start but not finish or fully immerse yourself into in 2020? Will you go back to it in 2021 or not? I'll answer this one last.
I'll go. Marseille Runes mediumship. Yes.
I'll go. This playlist that I started, that's been plaguing me. Sorry. I guess there's a lag or something. The alphabet that I started and I never finished, one of my playlists, and everyone keeps asking me to finish it, but I've gone in like another direction where I just feel like I don't even have time to do that because I don't even work with that anymore. So I don't know if I'm gonna finish it. I don't know. I keep going back and forth. I don't know.
Mine's real simple. I bought a beautiful set of OM staves and each beautiful wood that was there. And I looked at them. And that was about all I did with them in 2020. And I'm not sure. I'll let the year unfold and see if I go into it. But I have it on my calendar to pick them up in June. So we'll see what happens.
I'll go. I started a deep dive with Tarot de Marseille this year, and I'm not sure why it abruptly stopped, but that's something I'm definitely going to go back into. And I really feel the kind of wintry energy of that. So I think that'll be starting sooner than later.
Mine is in relation to when I talked about I've developed so many tools. And I have all these great tools, all the different ways I've worked with you, Sedona, which have been multiple different areas. I have incredible tools at my disposal, and then the lack of follow through. Like with my Buddhism studies, that I've like followed through on and consistently done. But mine is, just finding a way to balance everything into a nice routine is what I want to kind of immerse myself in next year.
So mine was actually I started in 2019 and it abruptly ended, and I'm finding myself really curious about picking it back up again, and that's paranormal investigations. I just started doing a little ghost busting with some folks, and yeah,
Oh, I'll come too.
I love it so much. I'm really missing it. Yeah. I mean, I'm a happy girl in a cemetery, so that's something I would like to do.
So not me, but so cool.
So for me, I pulled them out to show you guys, but I started creating my own rune system
Oh yeah.
that was double-sided. You know, just pull out one just to show you, like, you know, the moon on one side, sun on the other. And, you know, there's 13, so a total of 26 runes, and it was supposed to be part of, like, for casting, but also, like, specifically to cast on top of a tarot spread. And, like, I don't know what happened. I was, like, really into it. I was making it, and then I just hit a wall at one point, and then I looked back and went, wait, how much time has gone by since I stopped working on that? So I definitely want to pick this back up again and start writing the... So I have all the symbols, but I need to write up the little booklet to, like, explain how to use them and also explain what the symbols mean to me anyway. So that's what I want to dive back into, as well as, you know, picking up the Marseille again, as well as finishing the Tarot Summer School that I never finished. There's lots of stuff to dive into. So I got to schedule it out.
That's cool.
That's great. Okay, can we go to number 4? We good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so number 4 is there anything you intended for 2020 that you didn't accomplish? So this doesn't have to be tarot related. I'm going to go first because I'm going to forget, actually. I feel like my mind is distracted monitoring the chat and listening to all of your profound answers. I started a new sadhana, connecting to the goddess, to Shakti energy, and learning 108 sloka piece. And I started a brand new journal for it, and I said that I was going to do this 15 minutes every day, and to add this on top of everything else that I already do. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to pace it out over the next 365 days, because I really want to do this. I just feel that the more I can connect with the energy of Shakti, the more that I can really embody everything that I stand for. So this is my what I'm going to focus on. So what did you intend to do in 2020 that you didn't accomplish? It doesn't have to be tarot related.
Mine is just the consistency of everything I've talked about. To have a consistent practice around all the things I love, all the things that I know help. Like at the beginning of this year, like I was such in a really shitty emotional, mental, psychological place that it took me ages just to develop like a half-hour morning routine and actually stick to it. But I want to be able to have a nice structure, like not a jam-packed one, not an overwhelming one, but that I am actually consistent with. That's my big thing for 2021.
I wanted to run a 5K in 2020. I ran one in 2018 and one in 2019. And I wanted to run one in 2020 and I didn't. And as a matter of fact, I sort of just gave that up. And, you know, at the outset, you think running maybe isn't such a spiritual practice, but it really, really is a mindful practice for sure. It's a very spiritual practice. So I dropped the ball big time this year. I didn't even do a whole lot of walking. In the summertime, I whined a lot about it being too hot and I didn't want to, you know. So I started back when the weather got nice, fall, I started walking again. And then I decided, geez, if 3 miles is going real well, let's bump that up to 5 or 8. And, I'm not 30 anymore. And so I hurt my knee and I've been nursing that and now pulled a muscle in my back. But my goal is to run a 5K in 2021. And I have one, it's called the Hot Chocolate Race because you get great swag. And I think it's in April of 2021. It's going to be virtual, so I'll be running here and not in Philadelphia. But yeah, I want to do it. Justin.
Okay, I'll go. Oh, okay. I'll go. What I didn't finish this year is actually what I'm going to focus on next year. I'm an artist and I have 2 projects going that this year would have been the perfect time to finish. One of them is I've been working on my own tarot deck for 10 years. I thought for sure I was going to finish it this year. And I've created my own oracle deck. I did finish it, but I didn't finish the tarot. And another thing I was going to do was I had started doing pottery a couple years ago, and I was going to have a one-woman show this year. But because of all the galleries being closed, I have so many pieces of unfinished pottery in various stages of either air dried, kiln dried, need to be glazed in my studio that I haven't touched. Because I thought, well, why bother? If all the studios are closed, yet when I'm creating art, it's such a Zen thing. And I feel more connected to spirit because you get in that no mind space. I don't know why I wasn't doing it. So that also answers their next question. That would be my focus if we had another lockdown year like we did this year. Finishing those 2 things.
So in 2020, I had planned on combining esoteric acupuncture with past life regression for people to have like really deep, profound experiences. And that kind of fell apart because I no longer worked at the spa I was working at, and I wasn't really doing acupuncture because I was suddenly a stay-at-home parent dealing with homeschooling first and then distance learning with the kid. And so I want to dive back into that and really like figure out how to do it in a way that is a healing process for people. So that was one thing. And the other thing I was going to do was create magical jewelry with sigils, but I haven't gotten around to that either.
Well,
I'll go
mine
next.
was all.
Oh, I think there was a lag. That's why we keep doing that. Sorry about that. So this was like a personal goal. I had a personal goal of creating a circle of friends that had similar interests, but around me, like in person in my local area, because I really didn't have any friends that had the same interest in tarot and the things that we're interested in. And it's really funny because I didn't get to do that because of COVID. I didn't get to meet anyone around town or make any close friends. But what happened as a result is I met all of you, and we formed this community, this circle of friends. So it's really hilarious. So I didn't get to do it in person, but somehow it happened anyway, with our whole community. So that's really special on the positive side. I have to run because I have to put my son to bed. It's 9:05. But I want to thank you, Sadhana, so much for having me here. And I want to send all of you lots of love. It was such an honor to be here with all of you.
Oh, thank you so much for being here, Amber.
Good night, Amber.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
So I think I'm the last one probably. And I'm sure you guys are going to get a giggle out of this because it falls into the category of if you want to make God laugh, just tell them your plans. So my goal for 2020 was to get promoted at my workplace and maybe transfer to another island. But ideally, the plan was to take my boss's job from her. So that was what I wanted to do. Cry.
That's hilarious, Betsy. Okay, you're on, Betsy, for number 5.
Yep. Number 5. So, what would you do for another year if we were isolated still for another year with decreased funds or decreased income? And I can answer this so fast. I would learn how to become proficient at fishing from the shoreline and to map out my wild harvest fruit and veggie map around the island. In addition to, of course, continuing to grow my medium business. But yes, I would start harvesting food.
Nice. I'd be really upset at the lack of internet access, because that part of not being able to connect with everyone, yeah, I don't know what that would do to me. But I guess if I had no money to go buying things, limited internet, and couldn't really do much at all, then maybe I would actually get my shite together and become consistent at what I want to do. So, yeah. You see a theme here?
For me, it's gardening. So where I live, I can't garden outside 12 months of the year. And so I would somehow bring an indoor veggie garden inside, because I have found so much spirituality through gardening. It's incredible. And knitting. Oh my God, I miss knitting so much. And sewing, more sewing. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff I would do. I would not miss. And I have enough fabric in my garage to keep me sewing for the rest of my life. So I would not need to spend another penny.
Well, I'll go next. I would definitely knit. I might get my sewing machine out. I have a bunch of fabric as well. I love to knit. I would, for certain, be gardening. We garden every year. I'd be expanding that, learning to live more sustainably. We want to put rain barrels out this year, and we're looking at solar. I'd be running. I'd be calling people on the phone, because that's what I do. So I'd be calling all of you, and yeah, connecting in that way. Reading, studying Marseillan runes, just a way to, I don't know, it's really a way to dig deeper, right?
Yeah. I guess I'll go next. I have so much that I could do during a year like that. I don't even know where to start. I'd probably restart my creativity, because, the 2020, I've made the least art that I have had in probably my whole life. I have all the supplies right there. I have a little art studio, but it just hasn't flowed for me this year. Well, I mean, I did make the necklace, so that was good. I also would probably write a book while I was at it. I mean, especially if I'm not vegging on YouTube the whole day. And yeah, just get back to my artwork, get back to writing, spend more time with my kid at the beach, go nature hiking, and like you guys, start gardening more.
Well, I live in the country with limited internet access. So I'm like, oh, well, it wouldn't change a whole lot for me. But because we garden, and, we have, we raise deer, and there's a lot of responsibility on the ranch. But as far as what I would consider things I really, really would do would be get back in the studio. Because like you, Jonathan, I've got a whole bunch of art supplies that have been sitting in my studio unused. And I found that by bringing some in the house and putting them on my desk, I've been doodling and using them more. So that helped. So that would be it.
Oh, I guess I forgot one little tidbit, and that would be diving back into my yoga and qigong practices, because those that fell away when this year came about.
Oh yeah, all the studios closed. I didn't do any of that this year. It's on my list to do it at home.
Right.
We'll see. Good intentions, you know what they say.
Okay, Miss Jillie, I think you're on.
Oh, for the next question. Okay, guys.
Number 6.
Get your math hats out. So this is where we have come up with our card, and I really like the way Sadhana did this. I didn't know about this. I've never done it this way, but I love it. So for the people in the chat, you take the year 2021 reduces down to a 5. So then you take your birth month and your birthday. So I'll just do mine. So mine is 12/7. So you add 1 and 2 is 3, and 7 is 10, and 5 is 15. And my card is dun dun dun, the devil. And wasn't it how did you feel about it when you first got the card? And the answer to that was shit. But then I remembered my soul deck. My soul deck is the Druid Craft, and so card 15 is with Crone.
Cornunos.
Yeah, Crone, who they have as the Lord of Animals, the Great Herdsman. And here, and it's so, really, it couldn't be any more Zen than this. So here are these two people who are asleep. And, this is the card about being lost in your delusions and your attachments. And the card actually says that there's a potential to wake up, a potential for abundance, a potential for connectedness. And, the thing is to become aware of your attachments and your blind spots and to work with those. So I guess that's what I'll be doing this year. It's what I did last year and the year before that and the year before that. But yeah, it's okay. I'm all right with it.
Mine's the same, really. I'm the devil too.
Oh, yay, hen.
My reaction, totally the same. At first. And more curiosity, more thinking, okay, what is this going to be? Am I going to get caught up in something again? Like in 2019, the deck buying as an escape, or is it going to be more of a teaching year of I'll be tempted by things, but I'll come through them? So yeah, mine was sort of trying to look at it from both sides of that.
I looked at it too, that like 1 and 2, for me, 1 and 2 is 3 and 7 is 10. So it's the wheel it's turning. And I really took that as learning, learning more too. How about you, Nancy? What did you get?
I have the wheel, and I was like, okay, that makes sense, because there's a lot of things in my life that have been in the process of change. And I look at, like the Wheel of Fortune, and in a lot of esoteric studies, they say that when the wheel turns, it isn't just misfortune. A lot of times it turns into darkness, or it turns into the feminine and turning within. So if you look at that year, it'll be a balance of introversion, extroversion, masculine, feminine, good times and bad, and just roll with it, because, what else can you do? Just
right.
roll with it.
Betsy?
I got the Hermit. Ha ha. Surprise. I always get the Hermit. It's like I should just have a tattoo somewhere, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, it's so congruent. How I can't even add anything to that. It's just
It just is what it is.
it's just
Yeah.
perfect. It's just perfect.
Okay. Sedona, what did you get?
Tower.
What do you think?
So I'm going from a devil year to a tower year, and I did a lot of reflection during the devil year, and I did a video about, well, earlier on about my devil year, but I'm really actually excited to go through this tower year. I feel like it's been percolating for a while, and if I could be that woman in the Full Arcos Tarot and have my
Yes.
Kundalini experience or my energetic experience that was strong enough to really clear all the shit out,
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
be so amazing.
Yeah. And what was the deck that you and I were doing our jammy time, and you had somebody got the tower, and it was the tower where the person's either landing on the land or landing in the water. Do you remember?
I was talking about the now it's gone out of my head, the name of it.
It wasn't the sassy burrito, was it?
It's by the same one who did Modern Witch, but I can't even find now where it is on my shelf.
But I thought about that when Sedona said that.
Yeah, it's the Lunar Soul Tarot.
Lunar
Oh, that's right, Lunar Soul. That's right. Okay,
So
Jonathan, go.
the way I learned to add it up was a little different than the way that Sedona wanted us to do. And so the way that I'm used to adding it up, I got the Hanged Man, but doing it the way Sedona wanted, I got the World. So they kind of go together for me in a way, because it's a way of, for me, diving deeper with the Hanged Man, but also realizing how connected we all are with the world. And that World card, it kind of, for me, it reflects about, here we are giving ourselves out to the world, and I'm just being called to do more of that and create my own online business where I could do these kind of virtual connections with people anywhere, wherever they are, and help them that way. Because as you're right, I'm a healer, and not being able to treat people with acupuncture this year has been kind of hard on me. But being able to treat people like this, I think, is blossoming for me.
Well, and it's just as important too. It's different.
It's different.
Important. Yeah,
And
the way that you had us add this up, Sedona, really made sense to me, because 2021 does come down to a 5, so we should add everything to 5. It just made sense. And the way I did it, the way everybody, all the people I know do it, I came up with the Lovers, which is 15 reduced again, which but I'm okay with the Devil. We're all right.
And I totally recognize there's different ways to do it, and people often ask about that. And so I think if you've been working with the system for a while, just carry on with that. And this is a way that I learned to do it, and this is the way that I've been teaching. And I'm not sure where it came from. It might have come through Mary Greer. I'm not sure, but I love working with it this way. And so if you're a 22, that means you're the Fool. And so every year, not all of the cards are active, if you want to say it that way. So part of this question was, how do you think your card will fare in a 5-year?
I actually liked my card being in a 5-year because, well, I looked at it from different perspectives. I tried to avoid the numerology perspective a little because that kind of made it worse for me, but not really, I guess. I think being in that devil year where there can be temptations and all of that, but having that paired with your 5, and to me, I can really see the Hierophant as being that leader, that teacher. So if if I'm in this devil year and I'm being led by temptation or that kind of thing is coming up, then maybe I need to work with that 5, that Hierophant energy, that looking to the advice of others and not just kind of winging it and going out of control. So yeah, that's sort of how I looked at that.
It's like learning where our hooks are, or learning what hooks us. And that's kind of how I looked at it too. The 5 is the Hierophant, and then the 15, I looked at it as more learning about, where I'm attached or where my blind spots are, all of those things. And none of that is, nobody says, oh, yay, let me look at my blind spots. But when you come out on the other side of that, I think it's an enlightening experience.
And the Hierophant having a sense of restriction as well as a sense of expansion. Like, I think of all of the cards, it's one of the cards that has an equal amount of expansion and restriction. It gives us permission to learn and to go back to the sacred texts or the origin, right? The source. Sorry, Amber is bouncing into me. I feel like I'm a tree and she's rubbing up against me. That's my dog, for people who don't know.
Aww.
But also, I feel 5 can be quite restrictive. And if we look at all of the 5s in the tarot, the number 5 it's a big number, right? It also has the magic of the pentacle. So I feel like anything can happen for me this year.
Well, and I also think of the 5s as being changes, because I started out reading playing cards to me. So whenever I see 5, I think of changes. And so that ties right in with the wheel for me of change and the balance of the light and the dark and the good and the bad and all of that. To me, fits a 5-year perfectly. And I'm sorry, I think I interrupted someone. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jonathan. Was it you that was about to talk?
No.
Okay, sorry.
Don't apologize. We're all trying to navigate those system.
Yeah.
So anybody else, like, any comments on your card in a 5-year?
Well, for me, the world tied with the Hierophant in a way is like, it's kind of that position that I'm kind of seeing myself in as someone who is like a health guide. I'm trying to avoid that word coach because I know it triggers people. So, even though I just graduated with a certificate in health coaching, I want to call it health guide because, each of us has their own unique bio-individuality, right? So what's right for me isn't necessarily going to be right for my client. And so what I'm here for is to help guide them find the right answers for them. And that idea of the world and the Hierophant kind of tied together like that. And also just thinking about the 5s, like the 5 of Pentacles, the 5 of Cups, those people like in mourning and just like kind of going inwards. It's still that same idea of going inward to find your own inner answer, right? So it ties together for me in a big way.
We ready for the next question?
All right, Nancy, I think you are on number 8. Yes.
All right. What is your theme song for 2021, and which lyrics of the song will you live by? And who would like to go first?
I'll go. So my theme song actually for life is Bonnie Raitt, I Will Not Be Broken. But I thought that it really, really hit home with and the lyrics. It's the chorus. It says, "Take me down. You can hold me, but you can't hold what's within. Push me, pull me round, take me to the limit. Maybe I will bend, but I know where I'm not going. I will not be broken."
Mine's a little bit the same in the sense of
like, I'm not huge into listening to like the latest music, and it's really weird because if you see my Spotify playlist, it's mostly really depressing songs, but I don't see them in that light. But
Lots of Portishead, huh?
I have to say, yeah, it's definitely more a life related thing for me. Is don't pay me out. I've dealt with enough of like ridicule everyone in the chat. Is "Got to Be Somebody" by Nickelback. And firstly, this is a hugely special song to me because it's the song I actually walked down the aisle to when I married my now husband. But even though it's a song about like love and finding that one person, so many of the lyrics are just related to everyone just wanting companionship and to be valued and to be seen. And it's kind of what, if you look beyond the love aspect of the song, it just envelopes all of those things to me of being compassionate, being kind, reaching out to people if they need it, making sure that people are being seen and heard, and so that's kind of my more life theme love song that I'm gonna go with.
Okay, who'd like to go next?
I'll go. I chose a song by Joey Molland, and it is entitled "Be True to Yourself." And I just heard this a couple weeks ago when I was out power walking. It could not have been more perfect. So the lyrics says, everybody's looking for the truth in love. Is it the Father, Son, or the Holy Ghost? You've got to find your beauty from the inside out. So be true to yourself. That's what it's all about.
Bam.
Love that.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
the good theme.
Okay, I'll go. So I said for 2021, part of my process is to embody Shakti, to really feel that divine feminine energy. And so there's so many songs that came through about that energy. And there's a song that I used to sing all the time that drove my ex-husband crazy. And I really love that song, and it's called "Bitch" by Meredith Brooks.
I love
That
it.
is a good song.
I love it. I love it.
And if you don't know the song,
I love it.
go and put it on YouTube and turn it up loud, because it's a song that is about just be you, for crying out loud, like embody all of your aspects. And I think that's one of the
Wow.
pieces that I find it so hard when I'm working with clients, is to understand that, this shadow is you. You can't get rid of it. The shadow and the light, it's part of the whole, right? It's there. It's you. It's not something that that's gonna go away. You need it, right? We need the ego. We need all of those things. We just need to understand how to keep it in balance. And so I think "Bitch" is such a great song to remind yourself of that.
Jonathan?
So I was looking up the lyrics because I forgot the lyrics to my song, but I chose "Shake It Out" by Florence and the Machine. And
oh yeah.
The one line that like was the reason why I picked it really was where'd it go? It's hard to dance with the devil on your back, so shake him off. Oh whoa. I'm down if I do, I'm down if I don't. So here's to drinks in the dark at the end of my road, and I'm ready to suffer and I'm ready to hope. It's a shot in the dark and right at my throat. Because looking for heaven found the devil in me. Looking for heaven for the devil in me. Well, what the hell? I'm going to let it happen to me. So it's really just about like going for it. Just shake off the things that you need to shake off and keep going. So. So that's why I really love that song.
I love it. Now I'm going to show my age. When I pulled the Wheel of the Fortune, because I'm a child of the 70s, what went through my head was REO Speedwagon, Roll with the Changes.
Yes.
And I love it. And I actually typed out the lyrics here. I knew it had to happen. I felt the tables turning. Got me through the darkest hour, and I heard the thunder clapping. Felt the desert burning until you poured like a sweet sun shower. So if you don't like, so if you're tired of the same old story, turn some pages, and I'll be there when you're ready to roll with the changes. So that's my thing. I have those lyrics. They'll be on my desk this year. Don't
Nancy, I
like the same old story. Turn the pages. That's the line I loved the best.
Nice.
That's awesome. Anything else for that question? Okay.
good.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up with the final question, number 9, which is, what mindset do you want to establish for 2021, and how will you embody this? How will you walk your talk?
May I go first on this?
Yes.
My words for this year, and I had picked those actually before I knew what my card of the year was. My words for this year are resilience and tenacity. So how I'm going to embody that is just roll with whatever comes my way, whatever life has to give me. One foot in front of the other and one moment at a time.
Beautiful. Jillie?
My word for this year, and I did this after the when I knew about the devil card, I thought I really need to hold steady. I need to be strong. I need to not take it personally. Just put one foot in front of the other, and tick those things off the list and keep going.
Thank you. How about you, Jonathan?
So my mindset of 2021 is self-love, and I want to empower myself and others to relearn how to love ourselves again. And the way I'm going to walk and talk my talk is I want to combine my TCM training, health coach training, the cartomancy, and guided meditation just to help people relearn how to love themselves again. Because I mean, I've been my biggest critic my whole life, being a perfectionist. So learning to be okay with everything I produce, because, I'm always like, oh, that's horrible. And everyone else is like, I love it. So learning to love myself again.
And I love that you're sitting in the top middle of all of us here.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about you, Jen?
So mine is definitely more around just self-acceptance, and that sort of comes from everything else I talked about. That yes, I want to work on the balance. I want to work on getting my shit together, of getting more consistent with things. But it really comes down to acceptance of, okay, I'm going to try. I'm going to make my plans. I'll change things up as needed, and I will accept myself, whether I'll do great, whether I can put this stuff up, and try not to let myself fall off the wagon in those moments. Just accept that it is kind of what it is. So yeah.
And Betsy?
So my mindset is to love all human beings as much as I love all souls. Yeah, it's really easy as a medium and being empathic, and I know you guys know this, to connect to that soul with people and feel that love connection very quickly. I don't have really that same thing with people so much. So my goal really is to love human beings as much as I love souls, and that includes myself, because I'm striving to take ownership of the line, I am lovable, in this year.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. So thank you for all of you that have put in your intentions as well too. So me for 2021 is to do everything that I can to empower every single person that I work with, so that whether we meet for 5 minutes or a couple of hours or multiple sessions, that they feel like they have a new resource, so that I'm not I don't want to, and no more enabling. Like, I don't want people to come back again and again asking the same old questions over and over. You know, like, maybe I have to be more hard ass. Maybe I have to be the bitch and just turn around and say, well, have you tried what I suggested? Are you doing your homework? Because that's really what I want to embody myself, you know, to walk my talk, is like, if I'm not doing my practice, how can I expect my students to be doing their practice?
Right.
Yeah. So to really, and, you know, not beat myself up if I fall off the wagon, so to speak, but to really, yeah, empowerment is my word, for
That's where
sure.
that self-compassion comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That Jonathan's going to help us all with, and because it's so hard. You know, I don't think we're taught self-compassion. If we can't be compassionate with ourselves, how can we be compassionate, truly compassionate with others? So we got to start.
It's funny, Sadhana, because my original word was empowerment. But then I switched it to self-love, because you can't be more empowered than loving yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of feedback going on right now, so I think this is a good place just to, if you want to just sign off, each of you, with one final message, just a reflection of how long have we been on? An hour and a half together. Like, if you could say one more thing, what would you like to say?
I just want to say I have a lot of gratitude for the connections that I've made in this community. And I started my channel late February this year, and that really helped me come out of my shyness. And Jillie inspired me to start my channel. So I thank everyone here, but I just wanted to say a special thank you to Jillie, Jen. Everyone's been so supportive, and I thank you all.
Oh, I'm so glad. If I had one more thing to say, I would just encourage everybody out there to keep going. You know, whatever this is that we're in, I know it's hard to hear, but like, this is our path, and we are going to walk it, and we're going to walk through it, and we're going to come out of it together. It's all going to be okay. That's how I feel like we just need to kind of like hold hands and walk together through this.
Thank you.
I think the one thing I would just want to say is I just want to send out the deepest, most heartfelt love to everyone who's here on the panel, in the chat, because I'm blown away constantly by how incredible people are in their comments, their support, everything. I'm always blown away. So thank you.
Yeah, I just, again, gratitude for everyone in the chat and you guys here on the panel. And if I had one message to leave everyone, is trust yourself. You know better than anybody else what you need.
Thank you, Jonathan. Betsy?
I am at this moment so filled with hope and gratitude, because I can already feel the amazing things that we powerful creators will see come to pass in 2021. I already feel like it's on the way. It exists already in certain places, and we will meet up with it. And I'm just filled with so much hope right now for that bright future for this whole community.
That's so, yeah. And I want to just say gratitude. I'm so grateful for all of you, not only joining me here today, but everything that we have shared in little chats and other people's channels, or just all of the connections. And I'm grateful to every person in every chat, everybody who's asked a question, the people that I meet in person. I really feel like my cup is full. And I just feel so very, very grateful. So thank you. Thank you to all of you for joining me tonight and agreeing to join me. And thank you to Mandy at the Artistry and Tarot for starting this Mindset 2021 tag. And I hope that more of you individually or in groups take this on, because I think these are wonderful questions to share, not only with our community, but others as well too.
And
so
thank you for organizing this and setting this up and inviting us. It has been incredible to be with all of you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Sadhana.
Yeah, you're so welcome. So if you five can,
you are a bright star in this community for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. So if you five can hang on, we'll just say goodbye. So good night to everybody, wherever you are, whatever time zone, and stay well and be kind to one another. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Namaste.
Aloha.
Aloha.